It's already May, and the 2023-24 English football season is quickly winding down. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Around the Grounds Vodcast, a series brought to you, as always, by Groundhopper Soccer Guides. I'm your host, Brian Reinhardt. Joining me, looks like via on the road, Paul Gerald, owner and founder of Groundhopper Soccer Guides. And Paul, right off the bat, you're not stateside. You're not in your normal recording studio. Tell our viewers where you are now, what's been going on. You started ground hopping once again.
Yeah, I'm at a glamorous Airbnb in Madrid, about a 25-minute walk from the Santiago Bernabeu. I think I said that right. Where we're going to go see Real Madrid play Bayern Munich tonight. So, by the time anybody watches this, they'll know what happened, but we don't know what happened. It will happen because it ain't happened yet. But we've been walking around and seeing Bayern Munich fans all around Madrid, and all the little food and drink places filled with red shirts and Germans. And so it's nice to be back on the road. And I was in London for a few days, saw Crystal Palace wipe out Manchester United. That was especially fun because I was sitting in the Crystal Palace section and got to meet some of our clients at the game. So shout out to those guys. And it's nice to be back on the road.
Champions League's going on, but we're here today. We're going to focus on the domestic league, the Premier League, the English football season. We're really winding down. A lot of fans are just as interested. They want to know who the champion's going to be, but there's also huge interest, promotion, relegation, since obviously we don't have that here in the United States. But the topic, it might not need explained, but we do this vodcast to try to help people figure things out with the English football stuff. Paul, tell us, maybe briefly, maybe go long-winded, tell us what promotion and relegation means in terms of English football.
Sure. So it's the leagues of English football exist in layers. They're kind of in a pyramid, really, but that's just because there's one at the top. And as you get down further, you get more and more, but doesn't matter, layers. And teams go up and down through the layers based on how they perform during the season. So in any given level, the top 2 or 3 teams are going to go up for the next season. That's promotion. They'll play in the league above for the whole next season. Relegation means the teams at the bottom go down to the league below. So I always tell people in America, think of it as Major League baseball. If they were all independent and the best AAA teams get to play in the major leagues next year, and the worst major league teams have to go down to AAA. So instead of playing the Yankees, you're going to play the Wichita Wingbacks or whatever the hell they're called. I don't know. So yes, so that's it. It's going up and down based on the results of the season. And it's a little bit more to it because they have playoffs as part of that, but we'll get into that as we go.
I think us as Americans, we're fascinated because we don't have it over here. English football fans, are they just as into this promotion relegation too every year?
Oh, yeah. It's like a whole nother season. I mean, it's who's going to win the league is one question, usually with the same answer. And then there's who's going to get into Europe. And that is glamour and money and everything else. So it's a lot of stuff riding on that. And then down at the bottom of the table, there's this whole other competition about just staying in there. And especially in the Premier League, because the money in the Premier League is so much more than in the second tier in the Championship. I mean, the money goes down as you go down, but the real drop-off is between the Premier League and the Championship. And especially if a team has just gotten into the Premier League and they spend a bunch of money on players and they really need to stay up because they got to pay those guys. You can see some teams that go down and then immediately go down again because they just get wiped out. And it's not so much enjoy as much as it's just a level of torture that they have to endure. Are we going to stay up? And it just comes down to the finest margins on the last day sometimes. And it's exciting because on the last day, everybody plays at the same time.
Yep.
So if you're trying to stay up or you're trying to qualify for Europe or win the league, you're constantly checking your phone, see what's happening somewhere else. And you can be watching a game and somebody, Burnley scores a goal and that's terrible news for Nottingham Forest. And so the Forest fans get all depressed and Forest gives one up and the Burnley fans go crazy. I mean, it's fun the last day, unless you care.
True. Could be. It always makes for an exciting last day. Like you said, that Sunday usually is great. Every game's at the same time. There's maybe 5 or 6 on TV here in the U.S., so always exciting. But
Yeah,
Now, full
exactly.
disclosure, we're taping this episode as the Premier League teams have anywhere between 2 and 3 games left in their campaign. So they're still juggling that promotion, relegation, but some have already been set. So we're going to start off with the good news. 3 teams will be moving up from the championship to join the Premier League next season, which starts in August. The first one, 2016 Premier League champion Leicester City is coming back up after spending one season down in the championship. Now, Leicester won the championship before the final weekend of play even went down. But Paul, I don't think we talked about Leicester too much. We talked about Premier Leagues, but maybe talk a little bit about your experience to go and seeing a game at Leicester City.
Leicester is one of those things. It's a funny club in a way as a groundhopper, because most Americans could not find Leicester on a map of England, and nor could I when I started. But by train, it's about an hour and a half north of London. There's a little bit of medieval history there if you're interested in that stuff, and then it's a fairly reasonable walk to a very nice stadium and with a great atmosphere. I would say it's a more fun game to go to than a town to go to, although that might upset people from Leicester. But I struggle beyond, medieval things related to old dead kings. I don't really know what goes on in Leicester, except for a really fun place to go to games. So highly recommended in that regard. And if you really want to, you can do it as a day trip from London.
Okay. Leicester back up. I have a feeling this next club, they're probably going to be everybody's darlings for the Premier League next year. One of the best nicknames, the Tractor Boys. For the first time in 22 years, Ipswich Town is back up into the Premier League, an accomplishment on its own, but they're getting promoted for the second straight year. First time since 2012, a team has gone from League One to the championship straight into the Premier League. So Ipswich Town, just incredible story. And you obviously have done the 92. You've been there. What can Premier League fans expect by going to Ipswich Town for a road game?
A great old stadium that is in view from the train station, which is, I'll probably get this wrong too, but an hour and a half or so also from London, but out to the east. Yes, in a very agricultural area. So hence the name, the Tractor Boys. They're a great rivalry with Norwich, which is just up the road, is called what do they call it? The Combine Classico. So yeah, that's Ipswich is actually, a lot of people don't realize this. I mean, they're a former European champion, and they have won the league. That was all back in the 60s, back in the black and white days almost. But they have a long, proud history, big fan base, really cool old stadium. Pretty cool town. Certainly worth a day out there to go visit. Nice little redeveloped area around the waterfront, and some medieval quarter over there, and yeah, a great old stadium, which is the background here of our podcast today. No, it's Ipswich is a really, really good place to be to go. It is going to be a very tough ticket, and as far as that, we've never had them as a ticket partner. I doubt that we will next year. They're going to sell out every game. It's a bigger place than Luton, for example, but they're going to sell it out like every game immediately. So if you can figure out a way to get to Ipswich Town, you should do it.
Okay. Third team to have promotion, going to come from the playoff. Right now, Leeds, Southampton, West Brom, Norwich, those 4 are going to be battling it out for one spot. And all those squads have been in the Premier League the last 4 years. So no fairy tale stories there. But Paul, who are you rooting for out of those 4?
Well, first of all, you make an interesting point. Like what is starting to happen as far as the money goes in this league, like especially if Burnley and Luton go down this year, that's all 3 teams that just came up going right back down. Yeah. And all of the teams coming up, except for Ipswich, teams that have been up there just recently. What's starting to happen is there's the top tier of the Premier League, and this is all about money. And then there's this other league in between that's sort of a blend between Premier League and Championship. There's this bunch of teams in there that are just right on that margin. So yeah, West Brom, Leeds, Southampton, they've all been up just recently, and Norwich. Personally, and this is strictly as a neutral, and because I really enjoy derbies, I hope Norwich goes up, because I want to see Norwich play Ipswich in the Premier League. And if Southampton stay down, sorry, but if they stay down, Portsmouth, which we're going to get to, has just come up from League One, and that is a rivalry that I've not got a chance to see yet. So I want to see Southampton play Portsmouth in a league game. And otherwise, best of luck to everyone. Leeds is a great place as well. West Brom, very like one of the originals, very traditional club, great place to go as well. But if you make me pick one, I'm going for Norwich because I want a Premier League combined Classico.
Okay. But just whereas there's 3 teams moving up, there's 3 teams moving down to the championship. You stole my thunder. It's very likely the 3 teams that earned promotion last year are all going back down to the championship, but we'll touch on it. Sheffield United, unfortunately, they're moving down. They're going to finish last in the Premier League. They've already clinched that. Well, I don't know if you could say clinched it if you're doing a relegation. It's not like promotion.
It's settled. Yeah.
Settled. So 3 clubs are going to battle out. Looks like Nottingham Forest looks like they're in decent shape. I think they need to get a point here. But Burnley, Luton Town, like you said, might be going back down the championship. Those 3 clubs, what do you think? Obviously, it'd be great to go down the championship and watch one of those 3 teams, but what are you going to miss about any of those clubs being in the Premier League?
Well, I mean, Luton is a great story, and Luton is a team that almost went out of business not that long ago and were non-league in the last 10 years. I mean, they were in the 5th tier pretty recently. So for them to get all the way up and also for everybody to get a look at that stadium that they play in, that has been a great story. And they may be, as they say, punching above their weight. If they go back down, that'd be a shame, but they'll survive it. They didn't go all in and get crazy with money trying to get to the Premier League like some clubs do. So they'll be all right. But it's been fun having them around. And if they stay up, that's great, but they'll be okay. I also look at it, though, again, as derbies go. Every one of those, I'll look at it like, okay, Sheffield Wednesday stayed in the championship this year. So if United go down, the Steel City Derby is back on. If Luton go back down, Watford is still in the championship. That rivalry is back on. And Burnley can go down and play Blackburn Rovers again. So that'll be fun. As a neutral, I love derbies. So if they all kind of wind up in the same league, good news.
Okay. That's enough about relegation. We're going to focus on more promotion around here because we're happy when teams move up, as their fans are obviously going to be happy. But 2 of the 3 clubs moving up from League One to the championship have already been settled. Portsmouth, Derby County. Can you talk about those 2 squads a little bit?
Portsmouth, another very traditional club that has a great old stadium down on the South Coast. Very cool place to go. Nothing medieval there, just for the record, but lots of naval history. It's kind of the traditional headquarters of the English Navy, like I guess the Annapolis in the United States. And so if you have any interest in ships and naval history, and D-Day started from there, tremendous history there, and a great old stadium. The club has really been down on its luck recently. They've had bad owners. They've had all kinds of financial problems. So seeing them at least get back to where they are is exciting. And yes, they'll be playing Southampton twice next season unless Southampton go up. So that is great. Derby County is another one. They are a former league champion and from way back, but they did in fact win the league and have some great times in the late 60s, early 70s. An interesting town in that I went there and I don't drink, right? But I know that drinking is part of the pregame ritual. So I always research the pubs, and Derby has got some ridiculous number of extremely old pubs famous for serving really good, like real ale. So if you're into the beer and in the football, go to Derby. So the stadium, kind of a generic modern stadium that's not too far out of the center, but worth a trip for sure. It's up near Nottingham, a couple hours from London.
It's always fun talking promotion, relegation. You have an exciting evening off the Champions League game tonight. How about after tonight? Do you have a couple trips planned for the next few days? What's your schedule look like?
This next weekend, I'm going to go see the Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid women play on Saturday. Next week, midweek, go to Getafe, which is kind of out on the outskirts of Madrid. Start working my way through. I don't know if they have like a 92 in Spain, but I want to try to get through at least the top 2 divisions of Spanish football. And so So that's going to be a focus. And I might go up to Athletic Bilbao next weekend.
Okay.
We'll see about time and money. So,
and just because you're Groundhopper Soccer Guides business hasn't stopped or anything, right? Tell our fans they can still reach out to you, still contact you, still just even talk to you if they want to.
Oh yeah, the rest of the season, we've got all the top leagues are wrapping up in May. There's a Champions League final. I think that's June 1st, and and then we'll start looking towards June 18th, which is when next season's Premier League fixtures come out. So that's the big day kind of coming over the horizon. But we also got tickets for European Championships. I'll be in Germany for about a week this summer, and can't wait to see Scotland play Germany in Munich and just see how many Scottish fans come to town. That by itself could be entertaining. Copa America back in the U.S., it's a big summer for sure.
Well, Paul, this was fun catching up. Going to let you get out there, go to your game, enjoy. This is what you do this for, so you can enjoy as well. But thanks for catching us up on some promotion, relegation. We're going to have to think of a next topic, but this was a fun chat today.
Yeah, we'll talk Spanish soccer next time.
Want to thank everybody for tuning in. This was your Around the Grounds vodcast. Hopefully, work with them. Groundhopper Soccer Guides, they can get you to the ground. Until next time.